Hey guys, Argent here, and back with another episode of Better Know a Heresy. So today we're going to talk about Monophysitism. Now, to a lot of you who aren't very familiar with theology, you'll probably go, this was a heresy? But yeah, particularly in the early days, there are often fairly, what we would consider today, minor points of differences between the various churches that led to schisms that changed the course of empires. So Monophysitism was one of the biggest heresies of all time. Um, I don't mean that in terms of it being biggest in terms of how wrong it is, because in many ways it's just representative of a difference in opinion or a difference of wording. Well, Monophysitism is indeed heresy. It's very subtle, so a lot of people express Monophysite sympathies or agree with parts of it without really understanding what it is. It's particularly was mainly prominent in the East. There were a number of Monophysite Byzantine emperors. I believe Constantine was baptized by a Monophysite bishop. So what does Monophysite mean? What the hell is this thing? Well, mono of course means one, and physic or physicist means nature. So it means one nature. So the basic teaching of the Monophysites is that Christ only has one nature, which is either divine or is a mixture of divine and human, but in which the divine completely overpowers and absorbs the human. So the basic idea is that Christ is not really human. He is divine, taken human form, but really with no human aspect to him. And there's some related things to this that, like in Gnosticism, as we'll talk about later, they believe that Christ's physical body was just an illusion. But Monophysites will accept that he has a body, just that it is solely divine. So the problem with this is a core theme in Christianity is bridging the gap between two unlike things. And you take something different. Trying to think of how to describe it. Core theme in Christianity is you take something into yourself in order to change it, and by taking something into yourself, you build a bridge between the two of them. So God became man, and in becoming man, he was able to act as a conduit, and divine grace could flow through him, using his incarnation as an intermediary. In the Mass, the priest takes a sip of the wine and acts as a conduit. By taking a sip of the wine, he transforms the wine into the blood of Christ, much like when he takes a communion wafer, by taking it into himself, he transforms it. And this is kind of an ongoing theme throughout the New and Old Testaments. So the problem is, if Jesus does not have a human nature, he can't act as a conduit between divine and man. He can't be an intermediary. He can't be a agent of divine grace and divine forgiveness. So Monophysitism was very common in the East, but once again, a lot of it was very much linguistical issues, Greek versus Latin, cultural issues, etc. A lot of the churches that were thought to be Monophysite, like the Ethiopian, the Maronite, and a couple of the others, actually weren't really Monophysite. They were Miaphysite, which is the belief that Jesus only has one nature that is both human and divine, which is actually the position I tend to hold to. But anyways, that's not a heretical position. That's just kind of a different way of terming things and kind of a personal preference. So a lot of it was just confusion, etc. It's kind of not really around that much today, since the problem today tends to be the opposite. Extremely low instead of extremely high Christologies. But it is an important historical thing, and it was kind of a perennial heresy in the Byzantine Empire. So I hope I explained that. It's a very subtle philosophical distinction compared to something like Arianism, where it's very obvious that it's heresy. Anyways, that was better known as Heresy. This is Argent Templar signing out.